welcome to FOBtv, the future of business. I'm your host, Kevin Benedict. I'm a futurist and partner here at TCS. And I want to just welcome each of you here today. And I'm so excited about today's topic. We've never covered this before, but it's an area that's important to each of us. It's the future of safety. And our guest today is Christopher Malm. Thanks for joining us, Christopher.
Thanks for having me, Kevin.
But he works for Autoliv. And if you guys haven't heard of Autoliv, they're just so cool. Autoliv is the worldwide leader in automotive safety. And I think it's gone beyond automotive nowadays. Matter of fact, they're synonymous with safety. Autoliv sells to all the major car manufacturers. And each year, their products save more than 30,000 lives and prevent 10 times as many injuries. So these guys are the expert out there. So again, Christopher, thanks for joining.
It's great to be here and to talk about this important subject.
Absolutely. Before we get started, where are you calling in from today?
So I'm calling from rainy but beautiful Switzerland, south of Zurich.
I just love Switzerland. Every chance we get, sometimes it's just to pass through and have a good meal. But the times when we can spend 3, 4, 5, even a week in Switzerland has just been such a pleasure. Let's just jump into it. Please share with all the viewers, what are the kinds of safety products that Autoliv manufactures?
So Autoliv has been in this industry since the 50s. And we are a true innovator when we talk about, safety services, safety products, safety systems that goes into the vehicle. And the experts in our research departments, in our engineering, in design, all of their focus, just like you said, is on saving more lives. So we do that through manufacturing of airbags, of seat belts, of steering wheels, and other safety systems that go into the car. And it's truly remarkable to see the effect of those products. When you are in a collision, when you are in an incident, how many lives we can save through that. And that's really the core of Autoliv. It's these life-saving products. And that's what we stick to in making sure that we can enable more lives saved and thereby more lives lived as well. Yeah, so I mean, if you take a vehicle today, take your personal car, it will have up between 5 to 8 airbags today. You have a curtain airbag, you have a passenger airbag, you have a driver airbag, a knee airbag, depending on what comes with from the manufacturing perspective from the OEM. And all of those have specific designs to solve the one issue of really protecting you in a collision. Take the seatbelt. We all know the life-saving evidence of wearing a seatbelt. And it is truly remarkable how that has developed from the start of the seatbelt to where we are now, with the mechanisms, with the electronics, but also with everything surrounding that seatbelt and making it fit into the infrastructure of the car. So it's really a progressive development. It's a fantastic area because it concerns all of us. My son just took a driver's license, and my biggest concern is that he is safe on the roads. Yeah. And he needs to keep on being safe on the roads. And so for me, not only being an employee in such a great company with such a tremendous vision, but knowing that I'm using a vehicle that has these products in it that I can trust, that to me is remarkable.
So is Autoliv's focus just the vehicle themselves, the passengers, or the passengers in the vehicle, or is it the passengers in the vehicle and people outside the vehicle? I mean, how far does your vision go?
So, up to not long ago, we were focused on the vehicle and protecting passengers, drivers, also doing innovations that protect people outside the vehicle. And if we look at the future and where we are, really, we talk about vulnerable road users. And that's people outside the car, where 50% or more of these serious accidents or fatalities actually happen. And so we are looking at the whole landscape. And Autoliv as such, our new mission is to create best-in-class safety solutions for mobility and society. So that takes us outside. If you watch the news, we just released a press release about some work we're doing with Piaggio. We're moving to other types of transportation modes where my colleagues are doing a tremendous work in driving the safety agenda. For me, I look at the digital side of things, and I look at what can we create digitally that can create more safety, create services around safety that also extend that venue beyond the car.
So talk to us, what does that actually mean beyond the car? I mean, how far, where's the limits and what's the goal there?
So we, as you've observed, we see micromobility becoming a strong factor within the cities. We see a number of alternate ways of transporting ourselves as people, as humans, right? And the complexity of our journey is getting bigger. We used to take one vehicle to get to a place. Now we might, bike to the train station. We take the train into the town. We take an e-scooter into work, but then we change our pattern when we go back. Or we have a lot more modes of transportation. And so in this world, which is great, by the way, I love it. I'm a strong believer in the modes of transportation that we see are coming. But also in that we see similar challenges. How can I drive my vehicle safely? What does it mean with safe driving? We in the car world or personal vehicle world for a while, we all know that we can look at our driving behavior to understand, am I a safe driver or can I become more safe? And so really my agenda and what I work with in Autoliv is looking at how can we create that type of digital service that can personally coach you, Kevin, or me, or someone else, understand your culture, your way of thinking, your individual needs, understanding where your weaknesses, strengths are, and from that be able to then actually guide you and give tips and tricks along the way and be able to nudge in certain intervals so that we actually change a behavior that then leads to more safe driving.
Oh, that's fascinating. I've had experiences where I'm riding in somebody else's vehicle and they will just rush up on another car and then quickly brake behind them. And I am so anxious and nervous the entire experience. And
right?
it's just like, what? And a recent one, the driver was always driving very far over on the edge of the road. And I'm like, that's where pedestrians and bicyclists and skateboarders and everybody else are. Why do you hug the side of the road so much? So do you envision then a time where your safety systems can just nudge them to have corrective behavior in those areas?
So I think it's we need to maybe separate the safety systems that we build from our core from the digital services that we provide. So in a sense, we take the knowledge, we take the know-how of traffic safety from what we've learned from the core over all these years, right? And then we apply that into a digital service concept. And I truly believe that we are at a point where people are wanting to become more safe. So we did a couple of studies, in US, Sweden, India, in Malaysia, UK, and a couple of other countries where we asked the question, are you a safe driver today? And guess how many said that they were a safe driver?
How many?
Oh, 98% roughly. Between 90 to 98%. Everyone thinks that we are safe drivers.
Yes.
But still accidents and collisions happen. And then we ask the questions, do you want to learn to become more safe? And, more than half said, I would love to learn to drive more safe. So we see that we have a lot of work to do in just educating our individual selves continuously. Of course, we're very focused once we've just received our driver's license. We're a bit stupid at times as well. And we learn, but also we need to be reminded, we need to have that guiding side that helps us to always stay safe. And one of those tools is to be able to coach, to nudge. And I truly believe that we can reach that reality where we, in the right way, can make this awareness and also engagement with any driver.
Yeah, so I was just thinking to myself, these nudges are because we're humans, we're with limitations and distractions and emotions and all these kinds of things that kind of interfere with our life. How is the world going to change with autonomous self-driving vehicles, which don't have the same distractions? There must just be a whole different set of issues, right?
Absolutely. And we see many of them already, right? And this is my personal view. So what I think is, of course, that it's fascinating what's coming in the self-driving environment and on the levels 3, 4, and 5 of self-driving capabilities. And we'll see a lot of development there for sure. We'll see a lot of regulatory perspectives that need to change to support that, or that we need to facilitate as a society as a whole. But also there will be a phase where we'll have both. We'll have self-driving capabilities. We'll have people driving a vehicle. We'll have new vehicles or new types of transportation that we will take and that we will drive and steer as people, as individuals. And so for sure, this extends beyond the car and what is happening in that domain right now. And it's really looking at your movement and mobility pattern. And from that, being able to guide you and nudge you. So self-driving will be a big part, but it will be in a mixture, in an interchangeable state where we'll see a bit of everything.
Oh man, that's going to be a crazy environment to try to stay on top of. Now, I recently saw a video come out from Autoliv in my LinkedIn feed, and it was talking about scoring, driving scores and things. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so as individuals, as humans, right? Scoring is something we tend to understand. It's a simple number that says something. So what we've spent time on developing is really what we call a safety score. And it's what we like to define as a guidance in terms of making you safer. So we have a score 0 to 1,000 that looks at your safe driving perspectives. And where we say, you know, if you're 1,000 on that level, you are the perfect driver. If you're 0, you should not be driving. So that's the scope.
Yeah.
But behind the scoring, there is so much happening. Everything from data collection, from sensors, to understanding them, to pre-processing, to then using this pre-processing to determine certain events, and then to look at those events to say, are they safe? Are they not safe? Do we know? Do we need to do more investigations? And at the end of the day, the score should reflect for Christopher Malm, is he a safe driver? Is there some guidance we can do that actually increases his score? And does that mean long-term that he will not be in as many accidents?
That is fascinating to me. And I can imagine the role of gamification in there, where if you're at a 300 level, you know, there could be nudges and rewards for, you know, achieving on a weekly or daily basis higher scores than average. So you're improving all the way along.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really an ecosystem, right? We are using partners are using us. We are really collaborating. And all we know is that we're going to improve day for day and be able to also see what other factors, what other data points can we take in that helps us to understand safety? Because we can clearly say today, there are so many variables to traffic safety and to driving safety. There's no one part that measures them all. And so that will for sure continue to develop. And as of today, with our scoring, we can give a guidance. And that guidance will for sure improve. And then that coaching will improve. And hopefully we'll see a result of lesser accidents or collisions and lesser fatalities on the road.
So many of your products for decades have been, you know, all about physics and materials and, you know, all the things that go into keeping us safe. You know, there are things you can they're tactile things. You can touch them.
Yeah.
You can feel them. There's impacts. There's avoidances. There's all these things. What role do you see the digital side playing today in safety?
I think we're going to see a development moving forward where, of course, we'll have the digital aspect, sometimes purely digital services or capabilities that will be standalone. We'll see a lot of interaction between the physical and digital. We'll see a lot of, over-the-air updates have been a very interesting component to study, right? And basically everyone's starting to go down that road now. That's one form of interaction between digital and real or physical. And I think we'll also see how it affects business models at the end of the day. It will change the cycle by which we consume things within the transportation sector. And we've already seen it now, right? But that will escalate even more, I believe.
So where do you see AI and machine learning, all of that really improving safety?
So already today, we are building algorithms. We are doing machine learning, deep learning to train those algorithms. We're also looking at how we can combine different data sets to, from a little new perspective, create safety insights. So for sure, that technology becomes more and more important to us. We need to use it in the right way. We need to use it from an perspective where the goal is to minimize collisions and fatalities on the road. And in that way, it will also be an intermix of the physical and virtual. But it's important to us. In the solution we have today, we use it. We are looking to use it even more. In this coaching scenario, we're working with an intelligent bot. We call the bot Darcy. That stands for Driving Avatar Road Coach Yoda. And a fun name, but really to be your 24/7 safety companion, that's the vision. And then we need to use all of those processes that we can within the AI framework that will allow us to do so. And we have a long journey to go there, but I truly believe that is the journey we have to take to solve this puzzle piece.
So it wasn't too many years ago when the first inclination or the first reveal to your hardware that an accident was almost ready to be happening is when somebody stomps on the brake or yanks the wheel or there's an actual physical impact. Before then, the hardware doesn't know that something down the road is going to happen. But there's a lot of predictive analytics now. So there's, we're not just looking at historical research from past accident files. We can now project ahead, and we also have real-time notification of maybe accidents or obstacles in a road. We also have analytics on accidents that have happened historically on the road we are taking. So I'm just wondering is if we put in a destination in our map, does that inform the car of possible routes? And if we select a route, does the car have the ability, or very quickly will it have the ability to anticipate potential safety issues along that route even before you leave your home?
Absolutely. I mean, we are working with partners today that are already looking at this. So one partner that we're working heavily with, from a geopositional intelligence point of view, is looking at, okay, what is the metadata that we can give a user here? How can we give warnings earlier than later that prepare them for the journey, or maybe even suggest, let's take an alternate route because this one is not very safe at the moment. We see players like Google, they launched their safe routing planning. We see many examples of it, and really the devil is in the details. So I think we'll see even further exploration of data points that we haven't seen so far. New use cases for where we have our existing sensors and how we can see that data from a new perspective, and where we can actually use that in a proactive manner. So we can do that warning that you talked about, right? And we can prepare someone, a driver, much better than what we are capable of doing today.
So my Jeep Rubicon gets those updates all the time. And what's cool
Right.
about, you know, the Jeep there, the Jeep Wrangler, is that they have the ability to adjust a lot of different components based on the ground you're on. Are you going over boulders? Are you in wet areas, icy areas, snow areas? And the car changes, or the vehicle changes its behavior based upon what sensors are telling it about the ground. So does that all play into safety systems today?
I mean, for sure. Maybe not our expertise in working, right? But we see for sure the ADAS components of the vehicle delivering more and more value for every day that they are used. You know, to your point, the car will change modes automatically. It will adjust to the environment, and it will do so better and better. Also with the EV trend now, it will find new ways of adjusting to that environment through other factors that are benefiting in that scenario. So absolutely, that will continue, and that's what's going to bring the autonomous drive to reality, right? Or the self-driving capabilities. And for us, it's really, how can we make use of that data to then help you be more safe? Because you will drive a car, your children might take the bike, another one will take another different type of transportation mode. And so how do we make sure that we enable the safety across those modes of transport?
No, that's so interesting. Talk to us about the role of 5G. I mean, 5G is going to enable so much more in your world around safety. What role does 5G, or what benefits is 5G going to bring to the table?
So I love the evolution of 5G. I mean, it's bringing so many capabilities. I'm not an expert on the field, but from every dialogue we have with OEMs and with other key players in this sector, I mean, the vehicle-to-vehicle communication, V2X, there are such capabilities there. There's a lot to do still, of course. But when we see this component of objects starting to be able to communicate with each other on a much more granular level, also more decisions will be able to be made in real time, right? So there's an enablement there. I think we still have to see what the effects of that will be, and how that will truly change how we do that type of vehicle-to-vehicle communication today.
No, that's fascinating. So a lot of times when you're traveling the world, you look at a guidebook, and the guidebook will say this area, there's high crime or petty crime in this particular area, and it's mostly pickpocketing or this kind of thing, or this kind of thing. Have you guys, or do you anticipate a time in the future where the safety goes beyond the vehicle and follows the individual outside the vehicle as they walk through different communities, and just highlight the different safety issues or areas that are safer than others, and just give you some of that coaching that we talked about for drivers as well? Do you anticipate a time in the future where that might happen?
I think we'll see a lot of more of this coaching. And again, it'll be an ecosystem, right? It'll be a number of partners enabling that. I mean, the things that we see the big tech giants doing is fascinating. We see a move towards this type of mobility safety apps for the individual, for the family in general. That is fascinating. If something happens, how do you contact your loved ones in a quick and automated manner? If you're walking down the street, as you said, how can you get that kind of real-time notification of something? And so for sure, I think that will come to pass. It's not going to be one player. From an Autoliv side, we're focused on safety. We're focusing on the way you move yourself, your mobility pattern. And from there, we look at the best solutions that we can provide to that ecosystem. So it's a collaborative effort for sure, but I also think that will come in the future.
So let's put on that futurist hat now, Christopher. And if you could project yourself or just look forward 5 years, what are some of the big developments that may not be here today, but in 5 years, they may be common to us?
The crystal ball, huh?
Yeah.
No, I think the trends we're seeing, within electrification, within connectivity, and new business models through that. I mean, the sharing economy as such is going to change a lot of what is driving this forward. And for me, I think that the last mile delivery and the ways of doing that, we're going to see some totally new things that we will, in 5 or 7 years, whenever that happens, will take as a commodity thing that will be revolutionary if we look with today's eyes. So a lot in that space. I think a lot in the sharing economy will happen. And I think in general, we'll be in a situation where we will be able to share a lot more about ourselves and our data for the right purposes. We still have the kind of big philosophical question today about data. We know it's king. We know it's very valuable, but also we will see more clarity in how that can be used in the right way, and how we can also remove data where it shouldn't be used. So all of those parts will come together, and I think we'll see a lot more integrated society as a whole through those services, those hardware aspects being delivered on.
Christopher, thank you so much for joining us today, sharing your insights from today's world of safety and the future of safety. Thank you, Christopher.
Thank you, Kevin. A pleasure.